as Charlie has mentioned previously, Bianca actually does finance and stuff for the business, as well as obviously Charlie's properties and her properties. But to make this a full family affair, my wife Hazel has actually come on. So she's got a great background in like YouTube and video and audio, etc. And so she's actually the one that's leading the team on Full Stack and the greater Full Stack vision. She is actually going to be helping us propel it forward. So I am super, super excited. And I know she's listening to this. So, hey, Hazel. Yes, that's all. That's the pet name we have for each other. Is we use first names. No babes.
You know,
nothing.
I am as excited for this because I have to tell this is like, don't get me wrong. I think I do an okay job on social media sometimes.
You can definitely do better than I do.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll do better than you. But Hazel does an excellent job.
Yeah,
and it's like, the theme of this podcast is almost becoming the FOMO I have. It's like for the last year, it's like I think I'll put up a little clip on Instagram or something like, yeah, nailed it. And then I'll see a clip or something Hazel's at. I'm like, this is so much better. Why aren't we doing this?
Oh, damn. My benchmark is way too low.
I tell you what, I'll say it. Is there any concerns about working in a family business now?
So from my side or from her side?
Well, I mean, we might have to get her on the podcast to answer it from her side. I'm not going to get you to speak for her.
I can totally speak for her. My biggest concern was just getting found out how bad like I was doing and just making sure like I was pushing. Like the team has done a great job and everyone who's listened and watched this, like they're absolutely awesome. But just like going, well, how can we continue to improve, to continue to grow? I'm just so pulled into everything else that we're doing, Charlie, that I'm like, this was like our passion project. This is what we enjoyed talking about. We were doing these calls anyway, and we just basically decided to hit record on them because everyone else might actually get value from them. So that's my concern, is that she's going to find out how badly I am at social media and I am at pushing all of these things and go, do you actually know stuff? But the second one, actually, you know what? I don't even think there's a big concern. I'm actually rapt that all four of us are coming together as a massive team. Like this is just now basically a family business of everything that we're working on and one big shared vision across everything. I could not be more excited.
I think there's a deeper topic here around the idea of like acquiring talent. It's
that's a full episode, that is.
Yeah, but one of the things that excites me is like, as a business owner, I think the temptation to hire people and train them is like, it's always with us. Like we see the potential in people just like we see the potential for our ideas. One of the things I'm really trying to get better at the moment is like finding the people who are already great at things and bringing them on board. Because I think like in this example here, like I know Hazel is excellent at social media and YouTube and understands it so much more deeply, to the point where she'll send me little tips on things to fix in my, like I didn't know how to add a link to the story, right? And she showed, that was ages ago. But
I set up an Instagram page and I'm like, I can't change the profile picture. I'm like clicking this thing, uploading it. Like, guys, Instagram is not user-friendly on a desktop, just saying. And she's like, you just need to install it on the app and then it'd be fine. Put it on the app. Update a page, like the profile image, and it's like perfect. I'm like, yeah, right.
Well, bringing this one around, just it's something just an adoption of mindset I'm here with is like, I've got to be careful how I say this one, is like your team is an asset.
Totally.
That is directly related to building your wealth.
Totally.
If you can upgrade or acquire or bring in better quality assets to your business, the chances of that increasing your income and in turn increasing the performance of your business and helping you build wealth go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So like sometimes I look at this and go, well, maybe instead of buying that next investment property or share or whatever investment, it's like, what if I invested in my team? Like what would be the impact of that over 5 years versus buying another property, for example?
And so it goes to the same thing of what we're talking about with you living between like the Mornington Peninsula or Brighton, right? Like, are you playing it not to lose, or are you playing it to win? Yes, it might cost you a little bit more. Yes, it might have a little bit short-term pain, but long-term is the compounding value going to be there, right? And so someone like Hazel coming on where she could be doing something else. Like for us, it's like, how can we make sure that we continue to grow and find, to your point, find that talent that we can keep pulling in and actually go, great, now let's unleash this beast, the beast that is Full Stack.
Do you find that people get a bit funny around hiring? This is an observation I've made is like, I'll find a lot of business owners get to a certain point where they need premium talent. Like they need NBA players. They need 7-footers, as Keith Cunningham would say. But for some reason, like there's this immense resistance to like, hiring them or paying them. It's like, I don't know if the salary scares some people, or I don't know if it's like they're just like that it's a belief thing in themselves and they're like, if I hire this person, I don't know what to do next. But I do notice a lot of business owners get to a certain point and then it's like they kind of resist that step. Not all, but some.
I think it's, in my personal experience, I think it kind of comes back to, because some of the salaries do get quite large, going, oh, I could potentially do that, or potentially if I did that, that money would come into my back pocket, right? Like if I'm going to pay $100,000 or whatever it is for an Australian employee, I'm like, that $100,000 is going to come out of my profit, out of my pocket that I was previously doing. And I think that's that mindset shift that you were just talking about, which is like, but the second that you get through that, yeah, sure, financially might be a short-term pain, but holy smokes, just wait for that thing to grow 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months and beyond. And you're going to start going, well, that was a silly decision for me not to make it earlier. Like, why wasn't I trying to fill this role years ago?
I think people have bad experiences with staff also. Like maybe they hire someone and it doesn't work out and they're just going, well, if I spend this amount of money and it doesn't work out, like that can potentially go bad. And I'll mention a lot of business owners are terrible at hiring. So maybe that's a merited concern.
Because everybody typically looks for people that they like and resembles themselves, and the worst person to work for is like someone like me. I'm like, it's like, I should not go and find more people like me. I'm like, this is like, it's like the benchmark of if I'm in an interview with somebody, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so similar to me. It's like, it's an instant no. And it's only because I've gone through that pain. Like I've hired like very expensive people. I think the most expensive salary that I've ever paid out was about $240,000 a year. And those people were thoroughly, some of them were amazing at like a 180, but others I'm just like, really? I'm like, this is not like the cash versus the output and the value I get. It's like, it doesn't 100% equate, but the cost for me to learn those lessons is the value for me to continue pushing forwards, right? What was it? Thomas Edison, 1,000 attempts at the wrong light bulb until like 2001, and there was the right light bulb, and then obviously everything else happened. And that's how I look at it. I'm like, I'm happy to continue to improve, and I'm never going to get it right step one because I know the value on the other side is huge.
I think once you have one really good experience, it changes you though.
One, yeah.
Yeah. Once you've had, so it's like I remember once upon a time, like people were terrified of hiring offshore people in the Philippines. Do you remember that?
I do.
And they were like, then they might hire one and it didn't go well. I mean, regardless of how good they were at managing them or instructing them. But it's like, they'd be like, oh, that doesn't work. And it's like, I was very lucky. The first VA I had worked out really well. And I was like, oh, wow, you can replicate this? Yep. So I kind of like had a great experience and then I was all in on the VA thing. Bringing that back though, when I started hiring like more expensive roles, I think I got lucky again. Where the first person I hired, like I'll go through this, is like it was a media buying role. And I looked at it and gone, well, if they can be successful with 10 accounts, this is what it has the potential to make me an income.
Yeah.
And it pulled off and I was like, this is the greatest maths ever. We should just replicate this. But if it didn't work out, I could see my experience would be different.
Hey, fellow business owner, if this topic and value-packed short video has resonated with you at all, and you want to dive deeper into being a full stack business owner, check out the full episode by clicking the link on your screen or in the description right now.